Well, hello everyone. We're going to start with Mercury, since this was such a big issue for some. As you see, the date is 9/27. That is when stereo last was up. They have not put up anything else on Sechi, on the behind cameras, since 9/27, right here. That was their last date that they posted. The image that you get on stereo does not look the same as the other images. They do have different types of imaging. Mercury is melting right there. He's caught in the same type of pincher move that caught Venus. You can see the black orbs on either side, and he's squeezed in between. And that was on the 27th. It's been some days since that. You can see the same image. Here is Venus. Notice Uranus doesn't have anything on the pole, but the label for it is right here. And here's Venus. And they're calling this mistakenly a lens flare. But here's Venus. Here's what it shows up on the other image. Same date. Here's the pit at the bottom. And here's the two objects, and you can see their poles. They have a different type of infrared system. Some things show up on one, but not on the other. As you can see, she's squeezed in the same move for Mercury. And this is a solid object. It is not a lens flare. And that's what's happening to Mercury. And this happened on the 27th and the 30th, and they haven't put any new images up on that section since the 27th. The other image that we have for Mercury shows it as a chip. Remember, it's all about the masking in this place. Here's the chip. It did have a flag. The flag went. Without that flag, that means that the chip is not ready. It's unfit to move through the eye. It's like go. Here's Earth. And again, this is an older picture. And this is the behind camera. This is the underworld side of the chip. This was on the 23rd. On the 27th, these were the last pictures they have them lined up on the meridian line. Sorry about that. They have them lined up on the meridian line. It's all one straight line, and you can see Mercury, Neptune, Mars, and here's the mob. He said it was a shiv struck into the server, but they have to go on this line all the way there to get to the eye. Without that line, they don't have clear passage. Here's what that line looks like in the red. Again, it's showing up as the net, but this center line is the meridian line. You can see the crossbars are showing up, and they follow it all the way in. We followed that line all the way to the eye. Here's another image. These were the 5th, 6th, and 7th. The masking is breaking down, and that's why they're pulling the images now. But you can see the grid line of the net that is holding us, or was holding us, right there. You can see the crossbars. Looks just like the grids on a map. Only this isn't the map. This is space for all intents and purposes. For us, it's space. And you can see them lined up on that meridian line, following it all the way in. And this is where Earth is. And as you see, here's the shaft of the tunnel. Here's Ed sparking it. He's making the net spark. He burned through it. He leaned up against it, and he burned through that net. As they follow that line in, they were supposed to go through the eye, but that's not working out too well for them. Apparently, y'all aren't able to get into the group chat. Well, it is a work in progress, isn't it? These are the last images taken on the behind side of Secchi. And this is Earth and Mercury. These were taken on. If you go back, there is no other date after the 22nd. And it doesn't matter who you look at. If you look on the ahead camera, they skipped the 8th. Let me show you what Ed did on the 1st. And again, they pull the images. This is supposed to be the first, but he had like a quasar freak out. So let's watch that. What they did was they pulled the images, and then I went back a few days later and they inserted them, and then I went back again and they had pulled them again. This is Ed's big freak out that they didn't want anyone to see. He did this on the 1st through the 4th. So let's look at that again. See how he's looking like a quasar? He's spewing out. That's particulate matter. And this, of course, had them all very worried. There's been a lot of speculation as to what they're going to do, but it can't serve them too well to be lying so badly, you know. I'm missing an image file. Hold on just a second. Okay. Here we go. This is the one on the blue images that I strung together. It's a different date. It's the 26th and 27th after they cut it off. And it goes from the 23rd all the way up to the 9th. They haven't put any new images in. He's still blowing out all these chunks. As you can see, the reason it's jumping like that is because they're pulling images. It should be a clear stream all the way around and flow, but they're not showing it. And this, of course, is what they're hiding. He's blowing out chunks. The other image that was really interesting that showed up was more recently. And this is Venus crossing, and she has made the roll. She has turned over and done her pour. We're going to watch her get close. Okay, watch how she strobes out. Those are the mast. Those are usually vertical and now they're horizontal. As you can see, it's jumping like that because NASA is pulling those images. Ed is not looking too well. Venus has made her poor. The last images they show on the ahead camera don't show any sign of the net, which actually was showing up on some of it. The tunnel is hidden now, and we've got a nice strobe. That's the charge to the pole. When it's all lit up like that, that's the draw to the positive mast, and the behind image shows the draw to the negative mast. It's actually above and below the head and the behind cameras are showing. And what they did was they lost that meridian line to the eye. So they're effectively dammed up, stoppled. They can't move forward. And as you see, they've got all the other cams off. They just don't want you to see these images. And they don't want their own people to know they've been sold out. I'm going to see if I can fix this so that you can participate. There's a link. One of the interesting things about the fighting that's going on now is the Nordics. Uh, Eric is leading the Niflheim Nordics. Uh, these are not human beings. They are not men. What they are doing is wearing our skins, and that's the blondes that everyone talks about. These are the enemy forces, and they're still being active, even though people like Venus and Mercury and the rest are down for the count. So I gave the link. We'll have to see if we can get something else there. Okay, so who else is I've got
Hi,
questions. There we go.
you hear me?
Got you on.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people.
And there's Paul.
Yeah.
And Cheryl. There we go.
Hey, hey, Rose.
Hey.
Thought I'd show I'm a real person, not just a painting. Let y'all have a look at me.
If we can get something else there. Okay, so I wanted to try out this chat, this hangout we got going. I'm not quite sure about it all yet, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Lots of us don't know how to work this stuff. Really. I see how to mute my mic, although I got a new laptop, so.
Ah.
It's fortunate. Mute. Better.
You need headphones or you create a feedback.
Oh, okay.
So you guys need headphones. I found that out from the video, the how-to links. But I've got no new word other than they now have lost the corridor. Oh, they lost Rome. Eric told them to cut the org off. So Rome doesn't get its ship. It can't T. It's not going to make it through the eye. That's a big win for everybody. But I've got no new word other than, uh-oh, feedback. They now have lost the corridor. Who's got it? They lost Rome. Eric told them to cut. Somebody needs to mute. So, that's Alex. Rome doesn't get its ship. It can't T. It's not. Yeah, that kind of messes it up when you do that. Yeah, I muted you. You were playing the playing it on there, and it creates a feedback. Yes, Paul, I can read this. I can read this. I can read this. Rome doesn't get its ship. It can't T. It's not. Yeah, that kind of messes it up when you do that. Okay, stop it.
Weird.
Yeah, I muted you. You were playing the playing it on there, and it creates feedback. Yes, Paul, I can read this. I can read this. I can read this. Rome doesn't get its ship. It can't T. It's not. And that ought to stay that time.
Weird.
No, it wasn't Allie. I muted you. You were playing playing it on there, and it creates feedback. Yes, Paul, I can read Alexander Thayer. Rome doesn't get its ship. It can't T. It's not staying. It's not sticking. It should, but it isn't. So, the only other thing that we can say is that they're ready. They're ready to do all of it right now. Um, I know there was another forfeiture because they're still attacking people, and so they had to give up some more people. And what they did was these people belonged to the underworld families, but they were good. So it's a law. All good goes up. And the underworld was claiming, well, you can't have these people. These belong to us. These are our family members. And what they were was keeping them to create more victims. They weren't keeping them because they loved them. They were keeping them because evil is parasitic by nature. It requires good to feed off of. Good is not parasitic. It can stand alone. It doesn't need evil to live, but evil does need good to feed off of. So they were holding these people and denying them the eye. They were removing the IDs on the seal. And so by forfeiture, he had to give up more of his people. Another thing that occurred was they had a problem with getting rid of the warfare that was going on here, Ebola outbreak and everything like that. You know, Bill Gates Foundation was caught. They cooked it up in the lab. And the reason it's spreading is because they're deliberately spreading it. And when I looked up the WHO Foundation, World Health Organization, after that hurricane, when Walker was killed, they stated right there in their blog, they created those vaccines for sterilization. And this is what they were doing to those people. They create a hurricane, then they move the people in there under the guise of relief, and then they vaccinate these people and sterilize them. And it's Agenda 21. The UN is owned by Elizabeth and Rothschild. That is their charter that was issued by the Vatican. This goes decades back. Most people don't even remember it. But that is their charter organization. So the WHO is under them, and so is Bill Gates. They're the poster boy for this group. And he's created this Ebola vaccine, or Ebola virus rather, and probably the vaccines, and the vaccines are no vaccines at all. Charter that was issued by the Vatican. Again, I don't know why it keeps coming out, but that is their so the, and so is it's supposed to be blocked. Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
The poster boy for this group. Alexandra, please exit. He's created this Ebola vaccine, or Ebola virus rather, and probably the vaccines. Oh, thank you. So, it's all right that this is being caught, and of course it's under the auspices of the president, who is again working for these corporations. Another thing that was outed was the fact that they sent all their troops under the guise of infiltration. It's like the original triple cross, double cross of the double cross. They sold their own people out. So they got these troops in under DHS, which was issued divine powers by the Vatican and is owned by one of the lesser nobility. I apologize. It's owned by one of the royals. It's because it's got divine powers. It goes under Canon 108 by what degree in line you are, and divine powers means it was a royal. And so what they're doing is they got rid of all the extra people they didn't want. China, Germany, and all these other Russian forces, that were infiltrating and set themselves up under DHS. They think that once everything goes down, that they'll take over the land and things like this. But this isn't. The Vatican knows very well that's not what's going to happen. So, and so does the Lee family. And that brings us back to Ra, who was running the Lee family. In Australia, it's under Ra Domes, and he was the main Grey that was working with the Department of Defense. And of course, he was using them to go after the Seven, the reptiles, because the elves and the owls fight. It's an infighting group. The Greys fight against the Moloch, and the Moloch are the reps. The owl. So, get rid of the snake families. Who's coughing?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Rose. This is Alexandra with a cold. I'm sorry, I have a croaky voice. Low. And a very low one.
Don't play the tape back. Because
I already did that. I already undid that. Okay.
Okay.
And I unmuted myself also.
So what they were doing was pulling off all these people, and they were using them. They were playing as if they were a separate entity, when in fact they were one and the same group, just fighting for power. So when you watch Stargate, you see them going after the snake family, and the Greys are their helpers. See, this is how they played it. But it's one and the same group. They're both the offspring branch of Set. So it's all coming down now. And of course, the Archangel Michael was the promoted name for Azazel. Remember, I told you that under Coven law, they had to promote him with each new got a new name. So this ended up going backwards, on them. They just don't know what to do now. They've lost everything, and they're not going to. Oh well, they've always had, Alex. They've always had that. And they didn't use vaccines. They used parasites. If you look up parasites, you'll find they do the exact same thing. They selectively cause either people to become docile or they become aggressive. If you're docile, you put on weight, it retains weight, and if you're aggressive, you get the slim down. And don't forget the nanobots. Yeah, that's right, Cheryl.
What is a nanobox?
Nanobot.
Oh, nanobot.
Nanots.
Uh-huh.
That's what the chem sprays were putting on. And that was courtesy of the UN. They wanted to make people bored. There's a site, 2045, was their agenda. And it's their own video, and it tells you what they planned. But people are all, oh, this is so great. They've got like 10,000 signed up for it. I had to laugh. Yeah, you don't get a soul. So what you are is a program in a machine, and you'll never sleep. So you don't need sleep anymore. So you're a better worker. It just made a better slave. You don't have to worry about procreation. You'll never have children. There'll be no population growth. You don't have to worry about paid vacations or luxuries. You don't have to eat. You don't have to drink. You don't have to have bathroom breaks. See, it's a perfect slave. And these people are not catching on, or they're too dumb. I just don't know what to say.
Well,
They
it's like
think they're going to have eternal life, and they miss the point of life completely, which is
look at the eternal zombies.
yes, this is zombies. But I didn't want to do a long chat today. I thought that the thumb in space. The thumb in space, Cheryl, is somebody stuck their thumb into the server from the outside. You're inside a server. Everything around you is an artificial. No, when you get out, you're the same size. It's your consciousness that is in here. And everything around you is consciousness units. That's what creates everything you see. Originally, it was to determine the orientation of new souls. Were you service to self or service to others? And that was what they preached. We're inside the gate. We're standing right by it. We're ready to go. And so, but no one knows the hour. We just know that we're ready.
Is the door closed already?
No,
Mm-hmm.
we're still there.
I see.
It's in stealth mode.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can I have a question?
I'm waiting.
Rose,
Yes?
once we get through the gate and we're on the other side, I presume that we will have these new bodies, new consciousness. Will we have help from our families up there so that we won't embarrass them in a way that we'll be like babes in the woods, completely lost in new reality?
Well,
Or
you've
will
got
we
it.
know everything?
You've got all of it downloaded into your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you need to know.
So we won't be an embarrassment to anyone.
No,
Okay.
it's like a clean slate,
Mm-hmm.
and you're given a fresh start on life.
So
Everyone gets a fresh start. All past mistakes are gone.
Okay.
But that's after you translate through. From the time you get out of body to the time you get to the gate, you will have all the memories with you. And then once you go through the gate, that's when you get renewed.
How long
Ison, by the way, Ison has invited all of you for a ride. And he's got quite a lot up there. Yeah, he's a sweet guy. He really is. But he thinks the world of y'all. He's been watching your comments. He likes Von Helton. So Von Helton, I don't know if any of y'all follow his blog, but Von Helton was working on a spaceship on his computer, and it was noticed. And so they took the plans, and they're translating it for him, and they're building his ship. It should be ready by the time he gets up there. So he thought that was pretty good. Von Helton has been trapped here, as far as I know, for 4 lifetimes. He's been here since the net came down.
That's long enough.
Yeah.
Can you thank Iceland's captain from me, because he's helped me out a few times and it really worked. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to meeting him very much so.
Oh, you will. Everybody will meet him. Everybody knows him. That was one of the funniest things. They tried to pull something. I forget what it was now. But he opened up the viewport and showed him. And he was standing right there on ice and busted him. And he just waved to him, and they just all freaked out. Because they can't get around Ison. Ison grows every time they make a mistake. So Ison has reached gigantic proportions now. And it was really funny. But he's an Admiral of the Fleet now. He's promoted up to Admiral of the Fleet.
Promoted.
Yeah. He's done a lot. I mean, we could not have done it without Ison.
I don't know.
Van
Sounds like
Helton, just type in Van Helton, and he's on YouTube, and he's also on Vaughn TV, VAUGHN TV.
Okay, got it.
Well, I'm going to end this session because I don't want it too long, and I wanted to get the message out for the images that we had today. Let me type it for you. It's Von Helton.
Could I ask a question before you go, Rose, please?
Sure.
I was wondering about the 25-year cycle, and do we do a leap each time and have a memory wipe each time?
Only if you're under the veil.
You decide to go into the veil.
People, he says he's doing something new, something we've never seen before. So I do know that you go under the veil and your memory is wiped, because to have those past memories rots the book of life. Everything needs to be renewed and refreshed, and people need a fresh start. So
every
that
25 years, is that?
I don't know if it's every 25 years. Here it was,
Right.
I believe, because it was tied. The solar cycle was tied to the sun. The sun is the black sun. When the sun went out, they lost their source. The Sith and these negative energies feed on the black sun. It provides them with that negative polarity, and they did lose it. So Ed is really dead, and they can't do anything more. The royals were gassing him up. That's why they were seizing all the land for fracking, and that's lost to him now too. And they did rip the net too as well. So the net's been ripped. She's just hanging there. She spilled her kernels. They call her the Maw Net, and it has a personality. It's an AI. Rest in pieces. That's good. Yeah. Rest in pieces. Yeah. We're all hoping that they all get exactly what they worked so hard for and earned. and that's the pit. And this is the covens of Azazel, who are defined as the royal, the papal, and the federal. And this is what was removed from our history that was once taught. That is who the Vatican is. It was created by George and Elizabeth, and Solomon as Anne. But that's who created it. It wasn't created 1,000 years ago. They codified the canon law and the common law in 1917, and that's when they removed the Geneva Convention of 1917. That's when Rothschild put the bills of exchange on us that gave you your light bill, which they pad. So it's all one big company store system, and this is what's ending.
Could I have a request? You know what? A lot of questions pop up. People ask, and it's not easy to explain. How is it that you say that we've been in this construct for about 100 years, 100 of Earth years, which translates to about 10 years up in heaven?
Well, because the
Hold on a minute. And people say that, how is it that it's only 100 years? Because their parents remember their great parents and the great great parents. So how is it only 100 years? Could you address that, please? Because it's not easy to explain to anyone.
it isn't. It really isn't. It's very convoluted. They linear time is a construct, and it's based on speed and distance. And what they did was speed us up fast, while outside the construct, it was not speeded up. It was going at regular speed. So they put us, if you look at movies, the best one, it's an inaccurate description at best. It's the only concept I've come across, though, that matches, and it's called a time dilation. We're locked in a server, and they sped the server up. So everything went very fast here, and that's why we had 3,600 days is one day in the day of the Lord, but that they really sped us up.
Okay.
And the HARP tech, yeah. Here, Obama just did a new mortgage thing, and he's named it HARP. Good. So he's planning on harping somebody, but he's not going to get anything. He's going to bite the bullet, because you see, the Vatican and Elizabeth quite simply aren't telling the truth to their own people. It is a pyramid structure, and no level knows the above level, but above knows every level below it. They're at the top of the pyramid, and all these corporations have completely no idea. That's how the DoD was being used to kill off one side while aiding the other, and both were the same group. But the 7 and the 9, we knew some of the names. They had quite a lot of incarnates operating here. But Anne had, they had, the Lee family was raw. They had Soros. I can't remember who he is, but he's one of the 9.
He's a financial advisor, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and they had Elizabeth was the big one. She's Lilith. That's who Lilith is.
Yeah, we know that.
But none of them are escaping. The 7 hills of the Vatican, those were the tunnels leading down for the Luciferian 7. And they all run for those bunkers deep underground. And so every time anything happens, they think they're going to get away. And I don't even know that they know that they're in a construct. You would think they would. They are the 9. I do know that the Pope gets reports from the L, and so does Elizabeth.
Which Pope?
All of them, whoever's in the office at the same time.
Yeah. No, especially now, Eileen.
Francis is in now.
I know he is in.
So the body changes, but what they do is a skeleton key, and they transfer the symbiote from one body to the next. So the same person is always in office. It's just a different body.
That's what I thought. That even though the other one resigned, supposedly he was still in charge.
Yeah, Ratzinger is still in charge. Rat.
Exactly.
Mount A Raw Rat. It was Ra who was the rat. Yeah.
In his body, yeah.
Yeah. He's he showed up in the 80s with L.L. Bean Institute and channeling, and he gave him the spiel. I remember he corrected the Wiccan Golden Dawn Circle, and of course the Wiccan have no idea that this is Elizabeth and Alexander who created them, and every time they worship it, they give power to these people.
Mm-hmm.
But he did a lot of damage to the planet.
Ratzinger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me something about John Paul II? Because it's kind of like from my country.
No, I don't know that much about him.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, the history they gave is it's just a lie. George and Alexander were the first popes,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the early 1900s. And then you've had these last ones, these last three. If you take the ones from 1917 forward, that's who's actually been in power since George and Alexander in the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm. The actual world power, right? You're talking about.
Well, the others were just renamed. They didn't exist, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they all go through the symbiote transfer, and it says right there in their, you have to read the Vatican codified canons because it's very there. The same charter that they used for our charter, which is not actually the Constitution for America, it's the charter, business charter for the 13 families. And they named everybody paupers except for those 13 families. And this is exactly the same language used in the Vatican, codified canons. Everybody else is named paupers. And what we did was insert our bills of right. If they were going to bill us and put the Bills of Exchange Act on us, we had a right to bill them for our labor. And this is what they've overwritten. But that was the only section in there that was ours.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
So if they named us paupers, it put us what in a position of a slumdog.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
We don't own anything. Everything is in their name.
Like serfs.
Yeah, you're serfs.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's what they call us, is serfs. They call us palms, prisoner of Mother England.
Mother England.
And as everyone, if you look up on DC, most people don't know this, but the United States was decommissioned. It was. It is no longer under country codes. It is under state codes, right under Texas.
Really?
Yeah, you are now under the complete rule of the Federals, who are the 13 families, and on FEMA maps, that's the cooperating zones.
Mm-hmm. Is that the families that live in Texas? The ones we know of?
No, yeah, they do move around, but that is the same 13.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hmm.
And goes to the papal and Queen. Holy See, that really infuriated me that they removed that information. Holy See was Securities Exchange Executor.
Mm-hmm.
And they removed that.
In the Corbins. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
But the SEC was supposed to keep a record of all the names of the owners of the corporations. In 1952, the Cox Committee started putting it together. Rothschild got appointed and shut them down, and then whitewashed everything and removed all their names from the SEC. And so now they've got CEOs named, but no owners named. And For instance, it used to be known that Northern Trust, which was the first monopoly that the SEC broke up, is owned by Elizabeth, and this is the parent branch of the IRS. The IRS Treasury is owned by the Gadd family, who is Sachs, and that's where we get Gadds from. They were the foot soldiers who were sent in to slaughter the women and children in the village for their god Set. And, it's just really sad that so many people are locked into these. Yes, our birth bonds are sold. Actually, they're owned by the Vatican. They were seized by the Federals in 1917 and then transferred to the Vatican, who is their parent branch. And that's when Snowden found out, when he found those accounts, and that's why everybody rushed to keep him quiet, because Putin, I mean, all of them are involved. It's not just one group. They make it look like they're fighting against each other, but they're only infighting with each other over who controls the slaves. That's it.
Oh, goodness me, this is pathetic.
Yeah. Putin is the same version of Obama. And it doesn't matter what country you go to, that's who they put in power in every single nation. There is no other freemen who are in power. This is all owned under the Vatican. And this is what people are going to find out. I mean, eventually they'll figure it out.
Do you think they will let them figure it out?
Well, everybody gets the veil removed.
Yeah, but only for a few minutes, I take it.
Only for a few minutes, and as you're transported. But because we worked so hard, we ended it. So they don't see, what they do is they thought they would translate to the next underworld and that they would be in power again. They would have their slave system. Their slave system was commerce, corporations, banking, the government, corporate government, Senate. This was all created by them. And they were going to reset up their priesthood and be in control again. And this is what's ending. That you get no government, you'll have no electricity, they will have no priesthood, they will have no money. If they do not learn to be service to others, and that people and life on the planet is more valuable than a piece of paper or your status as a judge or a lawyer, then they get cast off, and it's the last separation.
But Rose, who is going to teach them if there's only the baddies are going to be left?
You won't have the interference.
So they will have to figure this out themselves.
Right. It was always designed that you decide what orientation that soul was. Either it was service to others or service to self. One is the right-hand path, one is the left-hand path. And you had to make a choice. And you were never, other than being told right from wrong, you were never told how this was going on. You had to, it was supposed to be fair, a fair choice. You're offered opportunities for both. And it was, yeah. And so what they did was cheat.
Rose, did the one create Set?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out.
Okay.
I don't know.
On that line, are there 3 super beings, Rose?
I've heard of 3 super beings. We'll have to wait and find out. I have heard that, but I'm not sure.
Rose, do you think we will have time to find out in that short period of time while we regain our consciousness
Yes,
and knowledge?
because it's all immediately there
Mm-hmm.
in your head.
Won't that frighten us?
Apparently not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're embarrassed about being naked.
Yeah, but it's not about being naked in flesh, as I understand it.
Right, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still, it's an embarrassment, you know. Ooh,
Yeah, it's like naked
we,
if people
we
were
hear
leaving.
we hear that all the time. Ooh, we're so naked. Yeah.
Rose, can't we ask the one to wipe us clean and before this happens?
Um, everybody's sealed.
Yeah, I know. I went on a walk the other day after you said we're all naked, and I asked him, please, just wipe me clean of all the bad things I've done.
You might be able to do it. I don't know. I haven't asked. Um, I know that I was made an offer once, but that was before we were sealed. I said, okay, I really would like to have that one removed. So, and but we'll have to see what we end up with. I know that they did sabotage me at one point. They had the ability to eat through the memory of the subconscious. And they took all my good memories and left me all with bad memories. And
Mm-hmm. But did you
they,
figure that out?
well, I found out, yeah. And I think it's been fixed, but I don't know. So I might have a bad awakening. I don't know.
We'll give you a hug.
That's right. I still have the knowledge that this was done,
Mm-hmm.
as a sabotage. So I'll stand. I'll stand.
Rose,
Yeah, with all the mistakes we made, that's true. We'll have it all exposed. Um, so,
May I
Rose,
ask a
uh-huh.
Rose, do we keep any of the things that we know, like some of the good things?
you keep good traits. You do not keep any knowledge.
Oh,
As far as I know, the law is nothing of the old may move forward.
okay.
may
For,
I,
uh,
after the translation, will we ever be told about the war from an objective point of view, that it happened and what our role
I
was?
don't know. I had heard that we were, but I think that might not be quite
Okay.
correct. Because nothing of the old may move forward.
Yes, okay.
It
Rose,
rots the book of life. I do know that when you leave, or it used to be, when you left from the veil and you rejoin your double, um, once again, all knowledge is there again.
mm-hmm.
And some people don't go back under the veil, and some people did.
Right.
So, those who start the new earth, for instance, those are the elect. That would be those who are still living when the jump is made.
Mm-hmm.
That's who the elect is. You are the elect. And you go back under the veil to restart Earth, or you go back to the ark. It depends on the choice that you subconsciously made when you were made the offer. And everybody's been contacted on that level. So all of us have inbuilt the knowledge of what's going on. Even the people who are in denial as a mirror and say, "Oh, this isn't true," and none of this is. Everybody's been contacted. Nobody's been left out.
Mm-hmm. Do you know of a percentage, of how many people were willing to go back under the veil and how many want to
No,
circulate
I
the
have no idea.
energy?
I
Uh-huh.
have no idea. Well, circulating energy, I believe you go as uh, back to the tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
All.
Mm-hmm.
Rose,
And
how
when
long is each book of life? Is it just 25 years?
I don't know. I based on here and based on the sun cycle, we had a clock with the sun cycle. And I believe it was between 25 years, based on what they were saying. But again, we'll have to find out.
I hate that.
You did say that we get to live for hundreds of years next time.
Yes, we do.
But is that one consecutive life or lots of different books?
Yeah, it's a jump from one book to the next, and each time she does it, Eve gives birth. So we'll have to see who collectively becomes the next child. That should be interesting. His name, by the way, is Mutt.
The next one.
Yes, I know. Ellie showed them to us.
Yeah, they some of the images you can pull up in Sechi. If you look at it closely, you can pick out the faces because it's still masking. But it was really wonderful to see the baby. On Father's Day, look on Father's Day with the one under the Sechi images in the red display. And you'll be able to see the baby.
Rose, in the new Book of Life, will our lives be a better version of what we have here right now? How would that be? I just wonder.
A bit of what?
Of what we have right now. Of our present reality.
Well, it's Earth, but it's Eden. It's something we've never seen before. The birds say that it's beyond anything we've ever known. We just have never seen anything that beautiful before.
Awesome.
So,
wow.
I'm reading some of the questions and seeing if there's anything. Oh, Disney's got a new movie called The Book of Life, huh? Yeah. But the doubles will be blended with you now, and like it was supposed to be. And we're all going to have a very good time. The next Book of Life is all about enjoyment, having fun, learning to play again. We've been slaves for all this time. And so you have to relearn how to have fun.
How to be happy for a change.
Okay, well, duty's calling. I hope I answered a few questions and gave you some good images today. We'll talk tomorrow.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you so much.